Have you ever left a conversation feeling strangely defeated, even though you said everything you wanted? Maybe you've been in rooms where the loudest voices always seem to win, where interruption and mockery pass for strength. Maybe deep down, you've wondered if your silence is a sign of weakness. What if I told you that silence is not surrender but the ultimate form of power? Today, we'll explore how Nietzsche, one of philosophy's most misunderstood rebels, believed you could master any situation without saying a single word. The illusion of verbal power. We're taught that every discussion is a battle, that to win you must argue, explain, and defend. But Nietzsche saw this as an illusion. He argued that those who talk the most often reveal the most, and those desperate to convince are already on the back foot. He flipped the script. True power isn't in words but in their absence. Silence, he claimed, is not emptiness but a force, a presence that unsettles and destabilizes. If you've ever felt invisible, ignored, or like your calm is being exploited, this video is for you. Maybe you've confused silence with submission, but Nietzsche invites us to see silence as a weapon, one that wins not by overpowering but by refusing to play the game altogether. Why we feel compelled to speak. Why do we feel the urge to defend ourselves, to prove we're right? It's not about truth, it's about ego. Nietzsche believed our need to justify ourselves is a symptom of insecurity. When we argue, we're often just protecting our fragile sense of self, not seeking wisdom. The moment you feel compelled to explain, you've already lost because you're playing by someone else's rules. Nietzsche called this herd morality, living for the approval of others. But real strength, he said, is holding your ground silently, even when misunderstood or mocked. It's not about convincing others, but mastering yourself. The power of the Übermensch is silence. Nietzsche's ideal was the Übermensch, the overman, who transcends ordinary values and commands the world through self-mastery. The Übermensch doesn't need to win arguments. He doesn't react emotionally or play petty games. Instead, he chooses when to speak and, more importantly, when not to. His silence isn't passive, it's charged with intent. It commands respect and unsettles those around him. While others reveal their weaknesses through words, the Übermensch's calm presence becomes a wall forcing others to confront themselves. In a world addicted to noise, those who master silence become the true centers of gravity. The psychology of silence. Why does silence make people so uncomfortable? When you don't react, you force others to face their own thoughts without the comfort of your feedback. Social psychology shows that in tense situations, silence is often read as judgment. The other person begins to project their fears. Are they judging me? Did I say something wrong? This internal chaos is what makes silence so powerful. Manipulators especially rely on your reactions to maintain control. When you don't give them what they want, their facade crumbles. But silence also requires strength. It's uncomfortable because it goes against everything we've been taught. Yet it's precisely this discomfort that makes it such a powerful tool, turning silence into strategy. So, how do you transform silence from a defensive shield into a precision weapon? Be silent when you most want to react. This demands self-control. Every time you resist the urge to defend yourself, you reclaim your power. Observe deeply. Listen not just for words, but for the fears and contradictions hidden between them. When you do speak, your words will have surgical impact. Let silence linger. The pause creates tension. The longer you hold it, the more the other person is forced to fill the void with their own anxieties. Be unpredictable. When people can't anticipate your reactions, they lose their advantage. You become the gravitational center of every interaction. But remember, Nietzsche's silence is not passive or weak. It's active, intentional, and crackling with presence. When you finally do speak, your words carry the weight of truth. The danger of misused silence. There's a dark side too. Sometimes silence isn't strength. It's submission. Nietzsche warned that what we call keeping the peace can actually be surrender. If you're always the one yielding, always avoiding conflict, you may be giving away your power without realizing it. True mastery means knowing when your silence is a weapon and when it's a cage. The final wordless victory. Nietzsche challenges us to rethink everything we know about power and presence. In a world obsessed with noise, the quietest person often holds the most sway. Next time you feel the urge to defend, explain, or react, pause. Let your silence speak. You might just find that you've already won without saying a word.